For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com. Hey guys, Masati here. Welcome to my podcast, Exponential Intelligence. Today, again, we've got Mary Rodwell here again, talking about Brilliant Children, the New Human coming up. This is part 2 of the series, The New Human. So we're just going to jump right in and continue on with some of the questions that we've got, Mary. This is an interesting one that I've got for you here, if I can read it again. One thing I speak about frequently is the innate power of truth versus the lower resonance of force or fallacy. Right? Do these youth seem to have innate wisdom of this concept? Judging from the last podcast that we did, I think they do, but can you go into it a little deeper?
Well, I did mention the 7-year-old that was resonating to when someone speaks to him, whether or not it's truth or not. But many of them have that sense of truth because of their awareness and their telepathic abilities. I always remember a 13-year-old explaining to me, she said her problem often with that ability was she would see the teacher. She mentioned one teacher that was saying these things. And she said, but what the teacher was saying and what she was thinking was two different things. And often what the teacher was thinking wasn't very nice. So she was seeing the conflict and the lack of integrity in her teacher. And this is a warning to all of those that want to con these children or to try and give them something inaccurate. Believe me, they will know. They will know if you are authentic or not authentic. And this is really important right now, Maz, as you know, because there is so much information out there now, and a lot of it is not necessarily the truth. We know there's propaganda. We know there are lots of ways of putting out information to disturb people and upset people and bring people down. But fortunately, many of these children will know what's truth, and they will tell you what's truth, and they will resonate to it. Just as, you know, yourself, you can feel when something resonates or not. These children, this is what they come in with, and this is why it's going to change everything, because at the moment, many people write to me and say, Mary, do you know about this, or do you know about that, or whatever? And I'm saying, you've got to take responsibility for looking at things and feeling things to resonate to, rather than expect other people to give you the truth. You've got to use your own awareness.
Understand it yourself.
And understand the resonance of truth. So this is what's going on now. More and more people are realizing that there's so much out there in every field of knowledge, right? Anthropology, archaeology, spirituality, religion, science, biology, whatever. There is nothing that's absolutely truthful, because there's been a program to keep us dumbed down as much as possible. So we've really got to use our own abilities to resonate now to that truth. But the children, believe me, they can look at you and know whether you're authentic or not. So this is really a challenge to us as adults to be authentic.
Well, we hide so much garbage behind us thinking that nobody sees it, but I see it just directly. So it's so blatant, you know? Yes. No matter how much your expensive suit or dress or whatever it is, I just see all the garbage. That's the new age, right? Yeah. It's a whole age of transparency or truth. I'm actually going to do a podcast on how the mechanics of truth works. But, you know, in the past, you know, I think people got dumbed down, or they let themselves get dumbed down. And it's like, and maybe it's just our conditioning, you know, from the get-go. It's like, don't listen to your internal self, listen to the parents, because I'm older, I've been here. And then, you know, schooling says, no, you're wrong. You know, this is the truth. And then, you know, so on, and the government systems. And now, you know, there's so much garbage on social media. You know, they think they can bend the truth. So I think we've moved away from our innate truth filter into understanding that, say, our senses should tell us the truth. And our senses can get, you know, they're deceptive. They can, you know, they can be distorted or manipulated, right? So we're going back to our own standard, because there's so many lies out there. Just as a survival mechanism, we're actually coming, hey, we need a better way to understand, figure out what truth is about, because we can't rely on media, or we can't rely on outside sources about us. That make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way, and everybody has to be transparent because of that. Again, parents and anybody else, got to get our shit together. Sorry about that, Mary, if you're offended by.
What I will say to people, one of the letters that stood out to me about telepathy and the child reading you, if you like. I remember the woman saying to me, my daughter's been telepathic since birth. She picks up on everyone around her. She said she's now 3 years old. And she said, the difficulty I have, Mary, is, 3 years of watching how I think, because I know my daughter will pick up on it, is really tiring. And this is telling us something really profound, is we really have to look at how we think, because this is the new upgrade of humans we're talking about, and it's getting us to clean up our act.
Right. It's so crazy. I call them EI children, because what I do, because the parents have been, listening to me, and then they get pregnant, and then the kids, Mary, I can't believe how brilliant they become, and they're not going to take any bullshit from their parents right off the get-go. Their parents fall apart, just like this lady. As that lady doesn't have to worry so much. It shouldn't be tiring. Just learn a lot from your kids and then change. That's all she's telling you. She's not, you can't hide it, right? Don't get nervous hiding it. Just change. And then you can have that strong relationship. But yeah, these kids are coming up. They're growing. Even as infants, they change their environment around them. The environment doesn't change them. They change their environment to adapt to the higher functioning needs, which means including changing their siblings, older siblings, changing their parents, grandparents. All those things have to dictate or accommodate to their need for truth, not anything else. So, which is really cool, because, well, you can't hide. You just have to be true. And at first it's hard for parents to be truthful, because, well, that wasn't the norm. But once you fall into the truth, it actually feels a release. Isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a burden that gets taken off you. There's a reason why, what do they say? When you lie, there's a heavy burden on it. I have an EI theory. Actually, it's not a theory. It's a mechanics on why lies carry a burden. We're going to be talking about the mechanics of that later on, not on this podcast. Is there a singular common mission or goal shared by most of the youth you've interviewed?
Well, they've come in, we get these different names, crystal, indigo, golden children. They're coming in with different mandates. They've all come in to help the planet evolve to a higher awareness, for sure. But they all have different roles to play. The indigo is the warrior. It's come to change the system, to challenge, to look at the system itself and say, this isn't okay anymore. You've got like this young man of 10 who said, he's a center seed, and he's come in to help with the pollution. You've got others that have come in as empaths that are literally coming in with new healing awareness and techniques and working with energy. Small children, very aware of that's their role, if you like. So depending on what's needed, some like the communication with animals, that are, the animal whisperers, if you like, that are coming in as well. So they've all got a goal of an evolutionary process, but they all have different missions in that evolutionary process, depending on what their gifts are. And I believe they're coming in from all over the cosmos with special gifts, and whatever, because we know that a lot of the intelligences have certain particular gifts, like the mantid beings are master geneticists, for example, and you've got others that have other skills. So do these children. They're coming in with those gifts to assist this planet. But the whole point is helping humanity now to evolve to a new level of awareness. I see the main agenda.
Would it be safe to say that they're not really children? I mean, they could be dressed up as children, but high level intelligent beings that, you know what I mean? That I think the earth has come into a consciousness that a higher level of consciousness can come into this reality without getting too messed up with it. So, does
Oh,
that make sense?
absolutely. I call them young avatars because really and truly
I
they're
think so
coming
too.
with this awareness, and it isn't about us teaching them, they're teaching us. And
Yeah,
you know, when you get a 9-year-old that's telling you she's coming to teach humanity,
it's beautiful.
she's aware that this is her job and whatever, and that the arrogance of, you know, adults that think they know it all and whatever. I mean,
Right.
I'm sorry, you're going to get the biggest shake-up of your life, because these children are literally going to show you what you have to learn as the older model human. And that's exciting.
That's very exciting. You know, I'm glad it came out of your mouth, Mary, because when I say that, some people get offended. I did a children's thing, and I said, "You guys got to watch what you're doing in front of your children." And I was saying all this, and some parents, it's like, "This, I thought this was a children's event, and I thought it was going to be about respecting your parents and doing this and doing that." And I'm going, "No, this is, why would that come out of my mouth? I'm here for the truth, you know. I'm here." So it was saying the reverse, and some of the parents were getting offended by some of the stuff I was saying. Basically, what you just said. So I'm glad it came out of your mouth. Nice job. Thank you so much. So nice. Moving forward, like me, I'm a forward-moving, solution-oriented type of individual. I'm sure you found that out. So, given all that you've shared so far, how do you feel society can most assist the youth, you know, so they can fully allow, where they can unfold these gifts, innate wisdom, ability to help awaken society? Now, you talked about the parents just being there, just, you know, letting their garbage go. But is there any like specific steps, or is there even websites or information that or you could share with us that they could go to understand, in case they do have, you know, a brilliant, I don't want to call them indigo, because that's way far
Yeah.
out. These are very different than any. They want to come here and master this paradigm and make it better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different level of kids.
It's a very good question, and I'm asked it a lot. That was the reason I wrote The New Human, because there's several chapters that are saying,
Mhm.
how can you support your child so that they can do what they've come here to do? And one
Right.
of the most important things is listen to them. You know, not
Okay.
don't come from, I'm
Right.
the adult, I know it all, and you'll listen to me.
Right.
It's like saying to them, tell me about what's going on for you. Tell me, help me understand what you most need. And also to provide the loving environment, the supportive environment, so they can be what they've come here to be. Yes, provide them with good food, you know, as much as possible. Make sure you support their, you know, their immune system. Make sure you support their, you know, with the vitamins and things, because that's practical. They need you to show them how to be human as well,
Mm-hmm.
how to learn that not everyone is, you know, trustworthy, that you have to
Mm-hmm.
discern around you, that a lot of them come in very naively thinking everyone is going to be like them. They have to learn that no, on this
That's the problem.
you've got all
Yeah.
kinds of energies. You've got some that are going to want to manipulate you, use you. So the parent is there to teach them how to be human, but
Mm-hmm.
also not to give them the environment that allows them to grow in a way where they can expand and feel safe, so that
Right.
ultimately they can do what they've come here to do, and to say to the kids, what is it you need? What can
Mm-hmm.
I do to help you be all you want to be? How can I,
Mm-hmm.
this planet? I know there are certain things I
Mm-hmm.
can do, there's certain things I can't do. And some, you know, have gone and done homeschooling, or they've sent them at least to a
Mm-hmm.
school that's a little bit more open, for example. But for me, the most important is that child's chosen you because you
Mm-hmm.
have what they need. So look at what your gifts are, because that's why the child has chosen you in the first place, because they know
Right.
you're the right parents for them, both to learn from and to learn with. So that
Right.
it's you know, they're learning from you about what is it like on this planet? Well, actually, you've got a lot of things to watch out for because we've been here a bit and we've worked it out. They're not going to do that because they're going to want to trust everybody, because for them, there isn't the manipulation, there isn't the, these layers of lack of integrity and whatever. So that's our job, is to help them to be human. Right. And our job is to help them to be more than the average human, but to be more of what they've come here to be.
I think some of them, from reading some of the kids that I've experienced, is that they don't have the underlying program of lying. It's just not in their DNA. Does that make sense? Because that's a lower level of frequency. That makes sense to you? I don't know how you feel about that, but that's what I see on them. So when they come here, it's like it's so foreign for somebody to lie to them, because it's like it doesn't compute and it like messes them up, right?
Yeah.
It's just like a whole foreign language that's like, I'm not built for that. So.
It is very confronting, and when people wonder why their children become so depressed, and we have this thing to do with children committing suicide at 8, 9, 10 or 11. So sad. And part of that is because they're not being heard, they're not being listened to, and they don't know how to deal with the density. They don't know how to deal with all this darkness and negativity and fear, and, judgment, those kinds of things. So it's helping them to understand and to transcend past that. Is part of the. I remember a young man. He's no longer 16, but he told me when he was 10, his family kept saying, "Oh, get in the real world. You and your imagination. You're always saying this weird stuff and whatever. Start to get real." And he said, "Mary, I tried it. I tried to shut down and just look at the world the way they did. I got so depressed that I wanted to kill myself. And I thought, I made a decision that if the only way I could survive was to open up again and have my expanded reality, then that was better than me taking my own life." So he went back to that,
so much better
awareness, but it created enormous problems for him, even at school, where he would sense what's going on with every person in the class. He would know if they've been abused or if they're unhappy or whatever, because he was an empath. And he said, so it made it really difficult on one level, but it was the only way he could stay here and stay alive. So parents need to be aware of that. If your kid's getting really depressed, look at what's going on for them, because if they're one of these new ones, they need to be understood and be supported.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know what your background is. I don't know if you have any MDs, but medical degrees, but parents, if your kids are depressed and they're really brilliant, just make sure that you don't give them any medications, unless you really study what their issue is, because it might not be a medical malfunction, a chemical distortion in them. It's just that they don't understand this reality. Medicine is not going to help them. It makes it even worse. So, try something else first, like Mary here or me, before you give them medications. A lot of times, once they understand how this works, because they're so brilliant, they can figure it out. Just like there's certain people that, they could take forever to figure out a Rubik's Cube, right? Because that's the way this reality feels like to many people even. But once you give them, say, an understanding on how this reality works, they can figure out like the Rubik's Cube in just a few minutes. And they'll go, oh, that's what it's about. So, the kid that you were talking about, who was 16 at the time, once he figures this out, once you tell him the programming, because there's no programming in these new kids on how this reality works, because it's not built for distortions and lies and mistrust and insecurities and all that. There's nothing like that in their consciousness. But once you allow them, they understand it, and then they can manipulate the system, so to speak, to, say, clean us up as well. So, but, Mary, let's talk about you for a second, because you've got such a nice heart. I can read you just plain as day, and that's why I'm sure all these kids are attracted to you, because you're just such a sweet person. How or why do you feel you've been so passionate about supporting these new humans providing resources for them, becoming, well, a sense, a voice for them. So what started you on your path?
Well, I was a nurse, and then I was a midwife delivering these new little souls, which
Ah,
I used to work in a special care unit where I had the little tiny ones that were being, that came too early and whatever. And I always had a real connection to these little ones anyway. When it came to counseling, it was, my heart always went out to the child and
mhm.
the struggle the child had, because it's always the child against authority or someone older telling them what
Mm,
to do. So,
right, right.
I've always had this real sense of protection and wanting to
Hmm.
protect
Hmm.
children. It's ingrained in my DNA, I think.
I see that.
It's more than anything also is what's brought me into healing. Counseling is healing, is looking beyond medication, beyond fixing what's already happened, and trying to prevention rather than cure has been very much part of my mandate. How can
Hmm.
you prevent certain people manifesting this, that, and the other? And a lot of it is about, we know that it's stress, it's about unhappiness, it's about all those things. If you can help someone through a process, then you can actually help them to heal themselves. So healing is very much part of it. But more than anything, as a mother and a grandmother, I want to see a future for
Mm,
us as a species. I want to see my grandkids have a future. And what I'm seeing is, at the moment, everything is in chaos. There is,
hmm.
what I'm also seeing is that the ones that are going to change it are not going to be us so much as the children that are coming in. And we need to give them this support and help so they can come here
Oh,
to do what
definitely.
they need to do. So the passion is for the future. The passion is for
Right.
this planet and the children, these beautiful souls that I'm seeing that are struggling on this planet. So my motivation is that. It's about,
Mm,
looking at how can we change so we give our children a future, and a good future, and one that is far better than that we're experiencing at the moment, which
mhm.
is on every level. We've got, all this pollution. We've got food that is not healthy anymore. We've got
Right. So true.
the planet. We've got drugs that are shutting people down from their awareness and their abilities.
Mhm.
All these, you see the layers of control of this planet that is not loving, that is not coming from heart, that is not helping humanity evolve, that is in fact
Mhm.
stopping us doing so. So the
That's
passion
true.
is, I suppose I've come in with the sense is we all have to do our bit to make things as much as we can change for the better. We've all got it. You've got a mandate, Maz. I've got a mandate.
Yes,
I
definitely.
trust that whatever it is, I'm walking that path. I always say, your soul knows what it's got to do, and it leads you
Right.
in that place where you
Exactly.
can most help. And for me, I mean, I laugh sometimes, Maz, because if you'd said to me 40 years ago as a nurse, one day, Mary, you're going to be traveling the world talking about aliens, I'd have probably sent you to the nearest psychiatrist and said,
Hmm.
you're crazy. Look at what I'm doing. But I tell you what, I also, what drives me is the passion for understanding. Why are we here? What's it all about? The mystery. I want to
Hmm.
understand the purpose of everything, just like
Right.
most the big questions. Why am I here? What's it all about? Why is all this happening now? So that the one main thing for me, more than anything, I think that has got me into this is wanting to make a difference to what I see is not working, which is not loving,
It's
which
not working.
is not caring for each other. And I see
Right.
that we have a planet that at the moment cares more for money and assets than it does its own, his own humankind.
Hmm.
There's no love for who we are. It's all about
Right.
control and power and greed. Not cool.
Right.
Not
No.
cool.
No. Not at all. That's so
Yeah.
true. So, wow, it's a as beautiful way to end, Mary. Is there is there contact information or anything that you want to share for some of those parents that have kids like that? Because I do things different than what you do. Basically, I just reset individuals at a foundation, and I think somebody like you, Mary, would come in and just help them understand, walk them through, getting, say, introduced back into this reality the proper way. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I use hypnosis as a way of them working out things that have gone on that they've got questions about, if they want to understand themselves more. Hypnosis is good. Another way that I help them is for them to open up multidimensionally. I show them how that works, so they're not afraid of it. So that's another part of what I do. But with the children, I wrote the book, The New Human. Primarily, most of it, well, at least half of it's about how can we help the children. It's not just about recognizing it. It's about what can you do as a parent to support your child.
Right.
Away, whatever. So I have a number of roles, and the other one is doing what we're both doing, which is highlighting, is giving out information that will help people start to make sense of what's going on for them. A lot of my work is about information as well. So how can I help you when I send somebody a questionnaire? Have a look at it. If it helps you join the dots, now what do you most need? So my job is to tell me what you most need, and if I've got the ability to either give you the resources or help you myself or connect with someone like yourself. To find me, it's easy. You just Google Mary Rodwell, my ACERN site, acern.com.au, maryrodwell.com.au. I've got a Facebook as well. I've got presentations, lots of different presentations on YouTube. So there's lots of ways to contact me. But more than anything else, recognize whether or not you've got a child like this, or if it's indeed you. And this is what you come up with. And if you want to understand more or get help around opening up, then they've got to sell like me, depending on what they most need.
Beautiful. And just as an invitation to you, Mary, if you need any help from me, we're willing to donate whatever, or if there's a problem child that needs help, something like that, just let us know, let my staff know, and I'll be happy to work on them for you as well. So, my office, my team is open to you. So just let us know what you need, and we'll help out as well, because we do need to bring in that new consciousness, and that's what we're all about, right? Bringing in that new high-performance consciousness, as I call it. So, Mary, thank you so much for your time. Anything else before we wrap up? Any last words, or we're good?
No, just thank you for inviting me, and also thank you for doing this, because without individuals like you, it wouldn't.
Oh, thank you.
Would miss out on things that are going to make such a difference in their lives. So I'd like to honor your commitment as well, Maz.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, we're all in it together. So, all right, guys, thanks for, as we wrap up, again, pay attention to your kids. You can learn a lot from them. And as we end, notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you notice. For more information on my programs, please visit masajady.com. That's MASSAJADY.com.